Well, good morning everyone. I've rested overnight at a place called Alexandria here, and I'm now looking over a little town called Clyde. That's the big dam there, Clyde Dam. I think that's the Clutha River. So that was a lovely night there with Quentin and Abby. They got a lovely new home there, and I just made myself comfortable in one of their bedrooms. Good company, good people. Nice to have met them. A lovely part of New Zealand, isn't it? All part of the power network, the hydroelectric schemes that they have all throughout. They're in the process of developing a trail all the way along the other side of the river there. It goes for miles right back to Clyde, about 20-25 kilometres. I'm riding into Cromwell. This is where the river merges. Years ago there was a bridge across just down there, but as the lake flooded, that submerged and's gone now. Through the back there is to Queenstown. This is just a lovely part of the country too, with these great big lakes. One to my right's Lake Hawea. Put the data cable right up the road here, and that's why they've got signs up, cyclists be careful, because of the loose gravel on the new bitumen there through the road. But this is just a lovely little bit of lake here. To my right's Lake Hawea, and over the other side of this thing called the Neck is the Lake Hokitika, and that runs in a big S shape right back down to Wanaka. There's the data cable they're putting through, a hose pipe. Well, the scenery's changed dramatic from Makarora here. I'm heading up into the aspiring national park towards the Haast Pass. It's surprising how the vegetation has just changed from open tussock land to whammo, she's into the rainforest. Blue Pools Park. I wonder what this is all about. And some lovely planting here. Are they going to show us a river or something? But these mountains are getting big already, aren't they? Look at that. And the tourists are all here. Riding into the sun towards the north now. I'm going to have sun in my eyes all the time, and it's not conducive to videography, but anyway, let's get into it. It's unusual to get a fine day to come through here. Invariably there's a southerly coming through from either side, and it's a very wet area down through these areas here. But today she's sparkling bright. Beautiful. I'm just keeping the pace off here because you're going in and out of shadows and you can't really detect if there's any gook on the road, and I can see where they have been through here with that machine putting the fibre optics through here. Pushing that load down, and here's the fibre optic laying machine here. It'll be a big rotating cutting wheel. That's it. And they're chopping her in. Is now flowing to the west, so that means we're working our way down here to the gates of Haast. Thunder Creek Falls, 5 k's on the right. We got the temperature of 10 degrees, but it does plop down to about 7 degrees when you get a lengthy period of shade in the bush, and that gets a chill under the arms. You don't need me to be talking to enjoy the splendor of this place. I'm sure my sister 80 in America will love this. She'd like to be on my back here. It's quite a drop here. I'm just thinking of those intrepid road construction people that were in here punching this road through here in the 60s. Rain and mud and slips and slops, and oh heck, they haven't got it as good as what we've got it today. Now you can see how the bush is all healed all the way around here. When I first came through here many years ago, this was all just denuded with recent construction. Runaway vehicle ramp in 200 meters. Let's have a look at that one. That sounds like spectacular. The runaway vehicle ramp. No. Oh, you charge up there. Look at that. Wow, wow, wow. There's a gate there to buddy open on your way up with your bumper bar. Now this is what we call the gates of Haast. Big bridge here. Swap sides of the river by using this bridge. And if you're going to run away a vehicle, you try and get onto this bridge here. See, in the shadow here we're down to 9 degrees, but when there's more moisture around it's even colder, down to 7 degrees. Chilly. It's all very well being in a car with a heater on, isn't it? But if you can see that big glass face up there, it's one side of the Landsborough Valley up here, big Landsborough Valley. We'll get a better shot of it as we go around. So this structure is going down the side of the road. Big digger here. Rooting it all up. Nice new machinery though up here, eh? Wonder how they're going to get across the bridge. They'll probably just strap it to the piles and underneath, eh? Fibre optics. That doesn't do any damage to the bridge at all, to the road at all, you see. Chasing it down the side there. But out there, when you just go a bit slow, you can see how many bridges there are. They're one every 100 metres. I better get moving because they're wanting to bring the cars the other way. So I was talking to the lollipop man at the other end there, and he says they do 12 days on here managing the traffic, and then they go back to Christchurch for a couple of days, and they camp down here at Haast. They've got a base down here for all the staff. Here's a Bonavista down the river. Let me tell you how much I'm enjoying this ride down from the Haast Pass through these twisties. Just lovely. I haven't got any urgency at all, and it's just fabulous to dribble down here with those big mountains either side of me here. Now back a long time ago I wanted to go to the Brass Monkey, and now that's an event held back there in the Ida Valley where I just come through, and I seen the spot. But I came over from the west coast over to the Ida Valley and went to that event. Well, it was freezing, bloody cold and miserable and everything, and it wasn't very enjoyable at all out there in the elements. They have great big fires going, burning stumps and the likes, but you're cold on one side and warm on the other. That's facing the fire. You know, you've got to be continually on the rotisserie to keep warm, and to sleep out and that is just hopeless. So I bolted, and I was with a friend, and we were coming back through here, and it was torrential rain. Torrential. You couldn't see a bloody nose in front of you. Cold, miserable, and we got down there to Haast and got a motel there. It was a shocking ride through here. But once you're in here and you've got rain and their objective is still 50 kilometers away, you've got to ride it, because there's nowhere else. There's no accommodation in closer here than Haast. So once you're in that rain, you just bear down and sneak along as quiet as you can. Now I don't think I would have been able to do more than 10 kilometers an hour in that torrential rain, because you can't see. Your eyes are watering. If you lift your visor, you've got water all over your glasses, and then that multiplies the problems. So I'm probably just saying to you what a contrast to what it can be like here, coming down the Haast Pass road down to Haast Township itself. This is the Haast Bridge across the big river, way up there. And down there to the Tasman Sea. Because we've got passing bays on here, it's okay. We can just tolerate these cars coming straight at me on a one-way bridge. So now we're on the Glacier Highway, and we've got 120 k's up to my sister's place at Fox Glacier. Let's go and have a cup of tea. taken out the gorse. Probably taken himself out too. He didn't have a mask on or anything like that. But never mind, that's what you do. This Haast Pass link was established in the 60s, 1960. So it's hard to imagine, you know, in most people's lifetime that this road wasn't through. But going back when I was a child, I was born in the early 50s. By the early 60s this road was probably through. But my uncle used to come down here whitebait fishing. Now this area is called the Moeraki or the Wakapoi. The names of the lake and the area here, Wakapoi. And he established a bush hut here in the forest on the mouth of the Moeraki River, or the Blue is the other name for it. And he and a partner set up a enterprise where they would catch the whitebait in season, bring it back to their unit or their bush hut there, and freeze it down until they had adequate enough to get it out of here. But because the road wasn't through, that involved several steps. And as I get round here, I'll point out these steps to you. This one here. There's places out the front of this one here at the sea where they go whitebaiting. But it is the very next one, the Moeraki, that my uncle used to be on. He had a partner called Bill Johnson. I'm just going to pull up here and explain this to you a little bit. The Moeraki River. That's the big lake there, Lake Moeraki. Over there, those sheds and buildings there have now developed into a wilderness camp. See that? Wilderness Lodge, Lake Moeraki. Oh, there's no vacancies. I can't show you what I'm doing. But just around there and across the creek again is where my uncle had his batch. It's sold and he's passed on now, so he's no longer about. So I'll have to tell you the story verbally rather than pictorially. Anyway, they would catch this whitebait, and Bill's job was the processing side of it and extraction back out to the main road. This bit of tar seal wasn't here at all, and the only way to get to that batch was from the head of the lake here, rowing down with a boat. So of course when the whitebait were frozen in packed lots, he would have to set sail about just before daylight and row the full length of the boat with his frozen whitebait. But that's about 4 kilometres that he had to row with all this frozen whitebait in. So way down around there in the sunshine around, about 4 kilometres back, he'd have to row all the way up here just on daylight to he had a flat and a hut in here too. And in that, on that flat, he would keep the horses, the pack horses, in his hut there with all the pack saddles and everything. So he'd have to come here, catch those horses, get them in, saddle them up, get them quiet enough, then transfer the whitebait to the horses, and then the trek began. Can you see that hill in the distance there? He had to go around that one there, and I'm going to show you roughly where it came out from there, and it joined a track coming from Haast across called the cattle track. So I've measured the distance out to here. It's 8 kilometres from the head of the Lake Moeraki out to this place called the Haast Pass cattle track. Now that's how they used to bring the cattle out of Haast over the mountains here and on up north to the sale yards at Ross. But this is only half of Bill's journey done. The first quarter was the rowing of the lake. The second quarter was the ride out through the bush track all to this linking with the cattle track here at this junction. Just to reiterate, this road wasn't here. This was a cattle track, and if a mob of cows had come through, it would be a quagmire of slop and mud and everything like that, and loose sticks, as a mob of say 60 or 160 cows came through here. And for Bill to bring his team of horses through with whitebait on, that would be slow, arduous going. So the end of the road was up here at Paringa, and that's a further 10 kilometres from where he met the cattle track there. So his total journey to get out of here would have been about 25 kilometres from when he had his breakfast in the morning until he got out here. Now, it was important that he got out here by midday, because there was a linking freighting service that came down and to the end of the road here, and if he missed that, then the whitebait would be destroyed. There was no way of keeping it frozen here, so it was a must that he got there. If a horse fell or twisted its leg and slowed the process down, that may mean that 2 weeks of work was lost. So it was a risky business all round. And of course, when he did get the whitebait out to this where the transport came down to, he loaded up his provisions for the next 2 weeks or so and took them back in again. So he was only halfway through his day's work, and he would often get home well after dark. So here is the little area here where the bus used to turn round here. This is the township at the end of the road here. So that was how far have I come there? That on that one there is 23 k's further on. Yeah, so that makes it a long journey, doesn't it? And but he done that year after year in the whitebait season, and the freighter here would take them over and get them to Christchurch for to the fish market over there where they'd be sold. Now, because they were southwestland whitebait, they were a premium over there. They really loved the clean, well packed, well presented whitebait that my uncle used to do. But you can see how awkward that was to get his product to market. Well, I've popped out here at Bruce Bay. This is where the road meets the sea here on the coast, and they're doing a swag of protection work here just to stop it eroding the foreshore here. I better get going before the road changes. But this is all new stuff along here with the they'll put the big rocks up. That used to be the angling club batch there that we camped in from time to time. So how good this erosion work will be, I'm not too sure, but there's certainly a lot of money spent on it. Nature seems to win though, doesn't it? See the rimu trees there? Well, they're not old rimu trees, but they're certainly the forest comes right up there and the sea's nibbling at the bank. Fox Glacier Township. So let's get off the bike for a wee while and have a cup of tea with my sister. Well, that was an uneventful ride up the coast there. I've just gone steady. Now I'm at Kakapotai. I've only got about another half hour's ride and I'll have completed Alexandria up to Hokitika. So that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed the ride up the coast on a lovely fine day. Good to catch up with my sister there and have a brew. Share old jokes and stories. Alright then, so I'm signing over and out. I wonder what'll happen next.